In times like never before, we present a show like never before. You might have seen a little bit of Mute Me on ESPN Cricinfo in the past, but you'd have never seen it with this cast. In the studio, it took great challenges from our end to actually get one of them to be muted. But through the power of the virtual world and through technology, I present to you the illustrious panel of Sanjay Manjrekar, Ajit Agarkar, and Akash Chopra, all from remote locations, all joining through the marvel of technology, and all in a position to mute each other if they don't agree on some points that are discussed in the IPL. These are their topics and they get to have a go at each other. Gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure to have all of you. First, let me say hello to Sanjay Manjrekar, because Akash Chopra has already muted me, and these kind of gestures are not going to be welcome.
Enough. You know us for long enough for like this kind of introduction. It's fine. We know.
Let me explain how this is going to work, right? In round one, you have prepared a topic which you will announce. You will get 60 seconds to further give your reasoning for that subject. If the other two panelists do not agree and feel that what you're talking is absolute rubbish, they have the liberty of showing a mute sign to keep you shut. In case both panelists keep you shut, you stop talking there and there. I would suggest you give your fellow panelists at least 15 seconds before you show that mute sign, unless the topic itself only thinks you guys think is terrible. So are we all set and clear with the rules?
Yes, sir.
All right. Brilliant. The opportunity to mute Sanjay Manjrekar is now in front of Akash Chopra and Ajit Agarkar. Sanjay Manjrekar, what is your topic?
My statement is that the players from the West Indies, the power hitters, may not have as much of an impact this IPL purely because the pitches are going to be different. And the reason for that is obviously because when you had the IPL in India, the first inning score was about 170. In UAE, it's likely to be 155. Left-arm spinners will come into play a lot. The pitches are slower, the bounce is low, which means people like Russell, Gale and Pollard may not have that much of an impact. In fact, Russell is interesting when you look at his strike rate in India. It's 183. And he's played a few matches in the UAE and his strike rate goes down to 126. Nicholas Puran, 152. And in UAE, 104. Pollard, not so bad. Gale slightly drops and, so yeah, there we go.
And they came almost at the exact same time. So I guess the Ajit Agarkar and Akash Chopra have more credible sources of statistics that they didn't want to hear it from Sanjay Manjrekar. So let me first hear from Ajit why he muted Sanjay's point, albeit after giving him a good listen. Ajit.
Yeah, I was being respectful, like he said. But the thing with West Indies is, I mean, they've thrived in T20 cricket. We saw in the CPL right now, okay, the conditions were difficult. In spite of that, some of the cream, which usually comes to the IPL, was still successful in that on those pitches when the ball spun. Nicholas Puran, I think Sanjay mentioned, I think he's one to watch out for, in my opinion. He's improved dramatically as a player over the last few months. Pollard's always been good against spin. Russell's just sheer power. So I don't think they will necessarily struggle. If the pitches are really difficult, I think all batsmen are going to struggle. But these guys with their power might still have a say.
Just to add to what Ajit is saying, I also believe that cream comes to the IPL and not the entire Caribbean. So when you're talking about the cream, they tend to adapt. The numbers that are being shared with us by Sanjay, UAE numbers are limited. So that sample size is not big enough for us to actually make a proper judgment that these guys are not going to fire. Plus the pitches in the first half of the IPL, and that's a significant half, are going to be actually batsman friendly. So if we don't see 170 pluses, but then we'll see 150 pluses on a regular basis. If that's the case, these guys should be all right, is what I feel. Whether it's, I don't see Gale playing a lot, but then Puran, Pollard and Andre Russell, these guys will be fine. In fact, Sunil Narine with the bat might just actually be have a slightly bigger impact, because the pitches are not going to be as spicy as he gets at the Eden Gardens or at the Wankhede Stadium. So I think the West Indians will be fine.
Okay, so we have heard Akash and Ajit's refutation to Sanjay. Let's move to Akash Chopra now. Akash, please announce your statement and you can then explain it in 60 seconds.
My statement is that Royal Challengers Bangalore will make it to the playoffs this season. And the reasons are, Aaron Finch as an opener will take the burden of someone like AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli. The entire team now actually is full of international players. The Dubes, the Washington Sundars, Navdeep Saini, they're all now international cricketers. And the bigger grounds and the spin assisting pitches, the bowler friendly pitches in the UAE will take care of the weakness that they have in the bowling department. Because if they are not playing at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, they won't actually be pushed as much. They won't be defending 200 or won't be conceding 200 when they are actually bowling first. So that's my point.
40 seconds. 40 seconds. Mr. Manjrekar muted you first. Sanjay, why?
See, because nothing really has changed with RCB, and Akash Chopra is holding on to a very almost like a one string holding a piano, heavy object. So Aaron Finch, he's putting all his eggs in Aaron Finch's basket. So I don't think RCB is going to change. Plus the fact that when you look at the death bowlers, and they've got some big name like Dale Steyn, excites fans, but his actual value on the field is a bit of a question mark. People like Saini, Umesh Yadav in UAE, maybe again Gamble, Washington Sundar and Chahal as the spinners. Pawan Negi, I doubt will get a game. So I want RCB to win because it's a team that has the Indian captain leading it. But I don't see anything that has changed dramatically for me to expect them to sort of win the title. It can happen T20 cricket, but logic doesn't tell me that it's likely to happen.
Ajit.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the same page with Sanjay. I think not a lot has changed. Of course, Aaron Finch has come, who's such an experienced player, might take some burden of Kohli and de Villiers. But in terms of bowling, we're presuming the pitches might spin or they might be slow. If they're not, it's the same bowling attack really. Chris Morris has been brought in. Again, that same sort of issues. Okay, Dubey needs to play well, or somebody in that middle or middle lower order needs to play well for them to again have an impact. Otherwise, it becomes top heavy. So much of the same. It's T20 cricket. Obviously, you don't know how something turns out and which 4 teams will eventually qualify. But at this point, if you sit and look at the 8 teams, I don't, in my opinion, at least, they don't look like a top 4.
All right, let's go to the next one. Ajit Agarkar, your topic.
For me, Robin Uthappa doesn't fit into the ideal Rajasthan Royals 11. I mean, Josh Butler's got to open. So that one spot is taken. I'd certainly go with Yashasvi Jaiswal, who's shown so much promise over the last year and a half or so. I know different standard of cricket, but we've seen that he can bat. So you don't want to take that spot away, at least early on in the tournament, give him enough opportunities. Then there's Steve Smith. There's hopefully Stokes who comes in. So they've got enough batting as Sanju Samson himself. And are you quite sure whether Robin Uthappa can do the number 6 job? He hasn't done that for a while in the IPL. He's been batting up the order. So I would prefer they try somebody else at that spot if they are looking at that spot than Robin Uthappa.
Okay, I think Ajit's end coincided with the mute. So he'll accept those mutes if I could gauge the way Ajit's argument was going. Sanjay, I muted him first. Sanjay.
I muted him because he didn't need to extend his point further. I was convinced in the first couple of lines.
Okay. Brevity. No, my only thing is that you will have to end up playing him at 6 and take your chances for a simple reason that they do not have too many Indian options available to bat at 6. So when you're looking at Sanju Samson, Steve Smith, Ben Stokes at 3, 4, 5, somebody has to bat at 6. And that 6 number option in terms of an exciting young Indian, I go with Yashasvi at the top. But who do you actually put him at 6 and 7? So that is an issue that they'll have to address. And therefore, Robin Uthappa might just walk into the playing 11, even though not as an opener.
Now let's move to round 2. But I'm going to throw some quick statements and let me see whether they land or not on with my guests. Statement number 1 is, we will see the best of Glenn Maxwell this IPL.
I think we will see the best of Glenn Maxwell for a simple reason, not because it's the UAE, not because what he's done in the past in the UAE, the fact that he is a radically different player in the last 12 to 18 months. He's become more responsible. He's putting a price tag on his wicket. And I do feel that he will have a huge impact and could be his best IPL ever.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I mean, we say it every year that he's become a better player, but somehow turns up in the IPL and it's so up and down. you'd hope that he turns up with the supreme talent that he has and almost made for this format, but not convinced. Maybe UAE brings out good memories, and that's the catalyst that does it for him. But otherwise, probably be the same old.
Okay, comment number 2. CSK will not make the playoffs this season.
Yeah, let me respond to that. They've made the playoffs every time with Dhoni leading, and he's a guy who makes something happen. So there's a good chance they'll make the playoffs as well. But there is also this little area of concern and worry where you apply cricketing logic, and they've gone with the same tactics, same players, aging players past their prime, and they are doing it one more year. Is that flirting with danger too much? That's the only worry.
The reason why I'm backing them to actually go the distance once again is that it's a league of 14 games. Dhoni, with his team, knows how to manage just 8 wins. You don't need to win 10 to actually qualify. If you manage 8 wins, that's more than enough. They do have one of the best bowling lineups, and bowling will eventually win you a lot of games in the UAE. The issue that may have happened if these were 170 pitches, they're not going to be. So if it's 150 odd pitches on an average, then the likes of Raidu, Faf, Kedar, Dhoni, Jaddu, Watson, they should be enough to actually win at least more than half, 60% of games. And that's exactly what you need. So that formula, one more time, I feel is going to click.
All right, that wraps up this episode of Mute Me. We've heard plenty of views, fairly strong and contrarian to one another, from Ajit Agarkar, Sanjay Manjrekar, and Akash Chopra. It is now time for me to announce a winner. The winner gets absolutely nothing other than bragging rights between the 4 of us, and for his extremely economical use of points and words, and for going through one argument without being muted, my good friend Ajit Agarkar, in pure objectivity, will win this one. So, Mr. Agarkar, I'm sending you virtual awards, and Sanjay is giving you virtual claps, and everything is, that's it. Nothing more you're going to get.
I'll just bow down to.
And obviously, after this decision and the award going to Ajit Agarkar, you won't see me in the next Mute.
I'm ready to share this award with the both of them.
No, how generous.
We don't want consolation awards and stuff.
I'm crying, Ajit. I'm crying. Give me tissues.
Ajit, Akash, Sanjay, thank you very much. We're going to hear plenty more from you as IPL 2020 comes our way. Hope you enjoyed that one. We'll see you again for another episode of Mute Me on ESPN Cricinfo.